Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here, and we're reacting to a great win by the Raptors over the Miami Heat yesterday, snapping a 4-game losing streak and winning on the road and, proving something or just, you know, this NBA season's ups and downs. And, well, we got a little bit of an up last night, and it's been really, really kind of nice because the fans get out of pocket. The players need these kind of positive reinforcements, and the coaches, it feels good for them. It's very rewarding. In fact, Darko, very, very happy after the game, a little emotional after the game, beating the Miami Heat. And it's victory is one of the most self reaffirming kind of things in sports because victory and getting the W is why you do what you do, right? So it matters. It mattered, and they did it. So yeah, I got the phone lines open. If anybody wants to call me this morning, I was gonna do a watch along with the Westchester Knicks game with the 905 going for a perfect 14-0. But my dad's gonna be catching an airplane this afternoon, and I want to spend a little bit more time with him before he goes. So we'll only be doing a reaction stream, and I'll probably run it right up until 11, and then I'll end it. And you guys can go watch the 905 play. Westchester Knicks. 11 a.m. this morning. I got your refs right here. We got Gerda Gatling is the crew chief this morning, number 24. RJ Johnson's the referee, number 29. And Billy McClatchy is the umpire, number 31. So, yeah, this game will be starting at 11 a.m. It's the last game of the tip-off tournament season for the Raptors 905 before they go to Orlando and play in the Showcase Cup, which will be coming up later this week also. So yeah, let's go for perfect 14-0 in the first section of the season. Andrew Jones and Raptors 905. You guys are badasses, and I appreciate y'all so much for your winning ways. And well, let's make it a perfect one. The Knicks are 1-12 on their G League team, and they're right for the picking. So let's get this perfect and beat them in their home court and go a perfect 14-0. Never been done in G League history. They broke records a while back. They keep on pushing the record further is what they're doing right now. So, yeah, it's a great time for Raptors 905. Great time for the Raptors winning their game last night also. Let's check in on the chat with you guys real quick and see what you guys are saying. Trevor J. first in the house as per usual, and he was in the house last night for the game. Trevor said that it was a lot of fun at the arena, a lot of good vibes. Yeah, I bet. Winning is fun. And disappointed Miami Heat fans in a Miami Heat arena is fantastic, especially last night. Especially last night. I think that the in-game ops of the Miami Heat's team is racist. I'm going to say this right now. They did some shady shit in between breaks the game last night. These teams around the NBA are doing these Snapchat filters where they put filters over the audience. And, it's often like a face like this, like some ghoulish face or some goofy like mustache and beard or something like that. Well, this is what the Miami Heat's in-game ops did last night. And I think this is very important to point out because this should not be normalized in society. This should not be okay. And if this is the way the USA is going and they want to be racist as hell, well, this is a scary sign because it is Ron DeSantis' state, and there's a lot of bullshit going on down there. And, well, let me tell you what they did. This is what they did. They did a filter over people in the crowd's face, like they were burned or sunburned or red, like red all over their faces. And they played the 70s song Apache. And they were playing off of the whole idea that, oh, we're making you red-faced like you're Native American. And it was such bad taste. And I can't understand who the hell thought that that was a smart thing to do. We're up here doing indigenous land statements before every game here in Toronto. And meanwhile, down in Miami, they're doing racist-ass Snapchat filters over people's faces playing a semi-racist song, to be honest, from the 70s disco period called Apache. You know that song. That's that song where they go, Tonto, get on it. Get on it. Yeah, the song is semi like allowed or like okay still, even though it's not totally politically correct. And well, Miami, you're showing your racist ass. And also, I would say this: with the horrors in Gaza, having a burning face Snapchat filter in the arena also, especially on the particular theme night it was last night, is not in good taste also. There's literally people that have burned to death in the city of Gaza in the last couple of years because of terrorism and genocide. So yeah, not good looks in game ops for the Miami Heat. Not good looks at all. And not many people are going to know this, but I'll put it on blast because in some ways, you guys need to be put on blast for this. It's not okay. And NBA, that's racist shit y'all were doing in Miami in the in-game ops yesterday. I'm just going to say that right now. Yeah, that is not right. That is not right. And I'm a stand with the rightness in this situation because listen, we're not going to degenerate into a racist ass, hateful society in some sort of way because of this kind of crap. Okay. Okay, United States, you're a bad leader right now, and we're not following you anymore. You're not leading right because your leadership is demented, sick, and twisted, and dementia too is in there too. Yeah, all right. Trevor's saying this: if you don't actively shape the life you desire each day, you'll eventually wake up to find that the years have slipped by unnoticed. Time is just a construct. What is time anyway? But yeah. If you don't actively shape the life you desire each day, you'll eventually wake up and find the years have slipped by unnoticed. I mean, it depends. There's a lot of angst that they try to give you for thinking that you need to be doing this or that through your life, but that's absolute horse crap. You got to decondition yourself from the idea of what you're supposed to do with your life because everybody's tried to tell you that since you're a kid. You don't have to do any of it. You don't have to do nothing with it. You could be just like a bump on the log on a tree and you should be fine. Because honestly, this is partly the impetus or the stimuli to get people to be motivated to work in the system for the labor for other people to collect from. So I don't believe in this shit, half of it, because some of it is kind of just bullshit. And your life is your life. Live it. Even if you don't do jack shit with your life. Good job. There's nothing wrong with that. And we got to normalize, stop judging people for, you didn't do this in the time that you do this. Nah, I don't totally agree with these words of wisdom because it is the right of the individual to passively live their life and let it go by. There's the right of them to do that. And I'm just saying, but I understand what you're trying to say. If you don't take ownership of your life and you shape it yourself, well, it'll just go by. Maybe somebody's okay with that. Maybe that's all right. Thank you for the words of wisdom, Trevor J. And blessings to Jones family and all the Raptor Freak families. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying, I enjoyed that win last night. ESPN was wrong. That's right. They said 63% chance Miami Heat would win. Tyler Hero was a late scratch. That was a part of it right there. That was a part of it right there. And that helped, but we had RJ out too. So, there's a little bit of evenness there, a little bit of evenness with different people being out. But yeah, fantastic job. The Raptors and the Heat are similar teams. That's what we learned. That Spider-Man meme was on point for Miami and Toronto last night. Very similar problems. In fact, this game was not well played. I think that a lot of people, we've had great games with the Heat in the last couple of years. And a lot of people thinking, this is an epic battle. But no, this one's a little different. It wasn't the best basketball by either team. There's a lot of missed shots, a lot of turnovers, and a lot of scrappiness like this series always has. But this isn't the best basketball we saw last night. And I'll say this right now, the Raptors won, and we're proud that they won, and I'm glad they found a way to win. But honestly, they play that bad against most teams in the NBA. They're not going to win. And they still have a lot of work in progress to do and a lot of things to do to be better. But alas, we won the game. We are now 16-11, and we are third in the Eastern Conference because of this. This is the prize, Scottie. You do what you do in the fourth quarter, and you move up in the standings. And right now, it's so tight from third place all the way down to 9 that just a little slightest win or loss makes you go up in the Eastern Conference standings very dramatically. And last night, the Celtics lost, and a couple other teams lost, and we jumped up into third place, back in the third seed underneath Detroit and New York because of this win against Miami. And Miami, who could have jumped over us if they beat us last night, they went all the way down to the last play-in spot. because of this loss for them last night. And they've lost 5 games in a row, and 3 of the last 4 have been in their home court. So, yeah, they're searching for answers. In some ways, their problems are similar to ours. They have young players off the bench that make mistakes. And Jaime Hasquez with like 5 turnovers. Kelly Ware is not totally a clean player yet, and he makes mistakes too. So, there's a lot of similarities between our two teams. They have trouble hitting threes at times. They have, they have a lot of characteristics like we do. So it's kind of really like playing against yourself in the mirror. And why did the Raptors win, though? What is the difference here? Well, part of it is Brandon Ingram. Part of it is Scottie. It was a tale of two halves. Brandon Ingram carrying in the first half, and Scottie Barnes taking it home in the fourth. This is the stuff I wanted from you, Scott. This is what I've been talking about in the last couple of days. Scottie, you want to be a superstar? You make the game go the way you want it to at the end of the game. And you posed and flexed and went crazy like a rabid dog at the right moment at the end of the game because you made the winning play. You made the big time play to get us the W. And it was exactly the right time for you to flex. Exactly the right time for you to look like a WWE wrestler. Ah! Yeah, that was exactly the right time to do that, Scott. You've been doing a little preemptively earlier in the season, a little too early in the game. You got to do it when it matters, when you do that big move that is getting you that. And that's what you did last night. I'm so proud of you, man. Because in some ways, look, I've been crying out for Scott to take over games in the fourth quarter his whole entire career so far. Yeah, not as much in the early days with the other guys around, but more and more in the last couple of years. For sure, we want Scottie to go to another level and carry and go clutch and take us home to the W at the last frame. And well, last night he did it. And it wasn't, this is the interesting thing. Part of it is that it was a defensive energy that carried us to the win. Sure, he scored a couple putbacks and there was some points scored by Scottie, but the dominance of what he did was in the blocks, the steals, the defense, the rebounding that got us the win at the end. And that's superstar stuff. So he's a two-way player. And, the defensive side was on full display last night and a huge, huge impact in why we won last night against the Miami Heat. Yeah, it was a fantastic game. A lot of fun to see Davion, a lot of fun to see Norman. Andrew Wiggins, I say this, Andrew Wiggins is not serious about the NBA right now. And this is part of the reason why I'm always a little bit kind of dubious about him. That man is not trying. I'm just going to say that. He's not trying because he's a very good player and he could have so much more of an impact. He is not trying. I'm just going to say that once again. Now, at times I worry about whether Brandon's trying, but he's trying to an extent. It's just he has a little lackadaisical kind of style that he kind of flows through. But Andrew Wiggins, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Maybe you should read Trevor J's Words of Wisdom today because you might need to read what he's saying there. That's what I'm saying there. Black Mamba's back in the chat with us this morning. Great to see our subscriber, Black Mamba. Always good to have you in the chat. God bless the almighty freak. Thank you, sir. And God bless you, Black Mamba. And thank you for the emoticon parade. And I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, if you have any opinions you want to say about the game today, put it in the chat, guys. And if you have the phone number, if you're a member of the channel or a special Raptor freak that's got the phone number to the channel, the reaction line is open also. We can hear you over the phone and hear what you have to say in your own voice. That'll be awesome. Yeah, Raptor freak James is here. Good to see James. James, it's on you and me this week in the Fantasy League. And you are a 7-1 team just like me. And, well, it should be a good battle this week. I think I've got the early lead after one night over you, 201 to 142. But, yeah, y'all check your fantasy teams in our Yahoo Fantasy League and keep your NBA Fantasy League standing up. Because if you don't play, you can't win. That's the way you got to look at it there. But James is saying, Lex, your fantasy team is pretty good. You might just win it all. I've done a good job of collecting talent. I've been very vulturous off of the waiver wire and just grabbing people. Like Trey Murphy came off somebody's team at some point. I'm like, why is Trey Murphy on the waiver wire? So I went and grabbed him and added him to my team. And that's one of the ways I bumped it up. But yeah, in some ways there's different techniques I'm using. And I'm excited to play you this week, James, because you are a division leader. And you're holding it down out in the 905 West division of our fantasy league. And, well, you've had a very good season. It'll be a good test. 2 7-1 teams. against each other this week. So may the best team win, and I appreciate your compliment. And well, we'll just have to see how the week goes. This is just the first night we just had. Yeah. Trevor J's talking about Fred VanVleet went on Hello and Welcome yesterday, and he told it all. That's right. He did. Once again, stellar work by William Liu and Alex Wong. And I'm really glad that Fred came on this show and did this. Because Freddie, man, you're just the truth, bro. In some ways, you're just the truth. And well, it's revealed why the Raptors group of Fred, Norman, and OG and Pascal had to move on is because of the sale of the team to Rogers. It's just straight up that. We were talking about it on Discord last night, and Mike was trying to say it was other things, but I'm telling you right now, Fred said it very clearly. The main primary reason why we did not keep Siakam, himself, and OG on our team is that we were in the process of handing the team over to Rogers. And in that process, MLSE did not want to take on any big long-term contracts at that time because of the change and the management would be coming in afterwards, and they may not want those deals. So this is a roundabout way we can blame Rogers for not having Siakam on our team, y'all, because the big investment of putting that huge contract on Siakam at that time was not in the interest of the company as they were trying to process through the finalized deal of what happened this summer, where Ed Rogers III became the primary owner of the Toronto Raptors. So I'm glad Fred just illuminated that. He was very illuminating on a lot of subjects, talking about the things with the fans, talking about the way the team was playing, talking about trying to play him on ball and then off ball and then on ball, talking about all kinds of stuff in there. You guys have to check out Hello and Welcome, William Liu and Alex Wong to get the whole hour of Fred's discussion with them. And he's so open and honest. And Fred's just a real one. We love him so much. And I appreciate it, Fred. I'm looking forward to your interview with Kevin Durant this week. It has been revealed that his first guest on the Unguarded podcast will be his teammate, Kevin Durant. And I'm sure they're going to talk about the finals between the Warriors and the Raptors. I'm sure they're going to talk about any kind of history that Fred and Kevin had before they became teammates. And it should be very interesting to see those two personalities mix, because Kevin is a certain personality and Fred is just the truth once again. And it'll be very fun. I love how Fred was talking about being the president of the Players Association and how that came about. All kinds of very interesting stuff with William Liu and Alex Wong on the Hello and Welcome podcast. It just cleared a lot up. And once again, Fred is one of these guys who can see patterns in the world, and he's a little ahead of everyone, and he can kind of see stuff. So he's a little bit like me. He's got a bit of foresight, and he could see the writing was on the wall with the Raptors a little bit before Siakam and OG and Nick and everybody else. He could tell what things were moving towards. But, you got to give Fred so much credit. He was a professional all the way through the time he was on the Raptors. And you know what? In some ways, that's the thing that people miss on that whole thing about him. They're easy to tear him down and come at him. And there was definitely a section of the Raptors nation that was absolutely reprehensible in the way they treated Fred VanVleet near the end. Yeah, he didn't deserve that. And in some ways, I respect and love how he said, I just had to do what I was told. And listen, point fingers at me. That's fine. I take bullets because I'm the leader and I'm supposed to do that. You go ahead and come at me like that. He's such a badass. He's such a badass. And he did say in that interview with William and Alex yesterday, I wanted to be a Raptor for my whole entire career. And you know what? He still has love for us. That's the other thing that's important about Fred. He said something like this on the podcast too. It's like, I see you guys are back and you're doing really well. And I'm proud of that. And I'm happy for that. See, he has no hate towards the Raptors franchise. He's bona fide, and the bonds between him and Masai and Bobby and his teammates from before are solidified. Even a guy like Scott and Fred are like this. They're cool. They may not have the personalities that really go well together because Fred's an old soul and Scottie's a young, fun guy. And, they may not click totally in personal ways, but they have a respect for each other on a basketball level and as former teammates that is fine and is very, very good. So, yeah, Freddie, you're a real one for the team. You're going to get the good accolades. As you said, you think Kyle's the GOAT, and you're right. There's so much good stuff in that interview with Fred. and hello and welcome. So you guys got to watch it. You got to watch it. It's just mandatory watching. I'm telling you right now. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights is in the house live today. Good to see you, Daniel. Happy Tuesday. How's everyone? Hey, everybody. Hey, Daniel. I hope you're doing very fantastic. And I appreciate you being in the chat this morning, Daniel. I appreciate your comments when you come in. Super fan Mo is in the house. Yeah, Monique winning again. Winning again. How good it feels to be winning with you. That's right. That's right. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Much needed W. WWF. WW, we win. My first star of the game last night is Scottie Wayne Barnes, who was so happy to hug his mom right after the game. And we got a beautiful picture of him with his mom taken by Alyssa after the game. Scottie, you are a two-way player. You are a dominant player in this league, and you could dominate the game on either side. It's your choice. Right now, you go and dominate the game with the defensive side. Well, someday you'll dominate the game in the offensive side too. I'll bet you in the fourth quarter. That's right. Scottie, 32 minutes, 17 points, 8 of 16, a perfect 50% from the line, 1 of 4 from 3. He missed his only free throw, 10 rebounds, so a double-double with 6 assists, 4 turnovers, 2 steals, 3 blocks, a plus 14. Him and Mobo were twinning because Mobo got 6 stocks in the 905 game on Sunday, and Scottie got 5 stocks on Monday night against the Heat. So, yeah, just a great all-around game. And the defensive intensity and aggression of Scottie Barnes in the game last night was top-notch. I mean, he was a huge factor in the fourth quarter and the outcome, just with the blocks and the deflections and the steals and just being a leader like that and energy. Because it seemed like the Raptors kicked it into another gear in the fourth quarter, and the Miami Heat got left in the dust. And Scottie Barnes was a big part of that because of the way he played so dominant. My second star of the game is Brandon Ingram, who really, really was sharp for the first part of the game, carrying and scoring points when we needed it. There were lulls in the game. There were runs in the game. There's a run here where the Miami Heat goes up this, and then we come back, and then, back and forth. A lot of runs. And Brandon Ingram was a very important part of scoring for us, carrying a lot of the load. 38 minutes, 28 points, just missed out on another 30-point game. 9 of 19 from the field, including 5 of 7 from 3. So Brandon was shooting the ball really well. One of the things I noticed about Brandon that we need to start doing more, and hopefully Darko will pivot to this because we're getting too predictable with setting him up with the ball in isolation. We need to have him off the ball sometimes because some of those threes he found last night were from other players initiating a paint touch and kicking it out to him. And then he got a nice rhythm step in 3, and he's nailing it. It's nothing but net. So we need to diversify the way we're doing things with Ingram on the court, and not every time down he's got to get fed in the post. And they because we even saw it last night. There's a couple times they gave it to him in the post, and they're suffocating him with doubles. They're coming and they get so on top of him that he really has a hard time getting the ball out of the double to the open man. So I like this idea of sometimes, not all the time, because the isolation of Brandon is important for our offense, is getting the ball into the paint in the paint touch and kicking it out to him. And he's all of a sudden open, and he's just taking a rhythm 3, a step into it rhythm 3. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. Yeah, Brandon also had 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 turnovers. And Darko was going on about that. He's like, yeah, after the game. Yeah, Brandon didn't just score. He got 5 rebounds and 5 assists. And I'm very proud of him. He's a very good player. My third star of the game is the man who got the chain. And he had the biggest grin after the game. This man had pure joy, pure happiness. And that is Jamal Shed. Jamal Shed hadn't really gotten a chain this year yet, but he got the chain last night because he had a very huge impact on winning for this game. He had a plus 27, y'all. A plus 27. When Shed was on the court last night, he got that the Raptors to outscore the Heat by 27. And this fun because, he's playing against Davion, and as he calls him, Dave. Dave and him are battling, and, that's got to be a lot of fun. There's going to be some smack talk. Shed was just really smart with what he did. 23 minutes, 8 points on 3 of 9 shooting, 2 of 6 from 3, 3 rebounds, 10 assists with 1 turnover and 1 block. Yeah, the 10-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, just a winning effect And some of that's defensive energy. Some of that is guiding the team by getting the ball to the right people. Some of that is knowing when to call your number and get a big shot. In fact, he had a big shot late in the game, and it was very reminiscent of Houston Cougar days. It was like, wow, that's the Shed in college that recognizes the game is getting into the last frame, it's getting tight, and we need something to happen. And Shetty's getting in there and he's getting in the lane and he's making a little floater or he's hitting an open three after a second chance 3-point shot. That stuff is important. And Shed was a great leader off the bench, totally deserved the chain. And I love to see the joy on his face. That smile in pictures of him with the chain is there's nothing fake about that. No, there isn't. That is pure joy, pure joy. My fourth star of the game is Sandro Mamashvili. The Heat announcer kept calling him Mamushvili. Dude, you're missing some syllables there, bruh. It's Mamu Keleshvili. No, it's so stupid. Sandro, 19 minutes, 11 points, 4 of 9, 2 of 5 from 3. He made his free throw, 7 rebounds, 1 turnover, 2 steals, a plus 19. They did a really interesting thing last night with the rotations where they handcuffed IQ to Jakob and they handcuffed Shed to Sandro. So a lot of times those were the combos that were out there. And, let's be honest, Jakob and IQ's minutes were not as good as Shed and Mamu's. They were struggling, definitely struggling at times. But I like that Darko put IQ with Yak because they are a nice combo of players together. They really did come in and out with each other as far as in the game. And yeah, Mamu and Shed have a very interesting chemistry themselves. After the game, Shed talked about playing with Yak and Mamu and how they're very different and that you have to learn the styles of the two different guys while you play. But yeah, Sandro was his normal self, tough on the boards, getting involved defensively and hitting some threes here and there and just running the court really, really well. So good job, Sandro Mamu. You're my fourth star of the game. Fifth star of the game last night is Emmanuel. Emmanuel was underrated on the down low. He did seem like he was struggling. He was frustrating at times for us because he isn't totally a textbook player. He doesn't play the fundamental right ways in some ways. There's a couple of things the Raptors do these days that absolutely drives an old head nuts like me. And stuff like they have a 3-on-1 break and they manage to not convert on it. That used to be like one of the biggest fails in the old NBA. If you ever have a man advantage on a fast break, you're supposed to convert because you have 2-1 or 3-2 or whatever. You're just supposed to, because in the logic of basketball theory and the way I learned it in the 80s is that you have an advantage and you need to capitalize on it and make sure you get those points when you have a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 even. And we had a 3-on-1 last night that we didn't convert on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. You have 3 guys and they had 1 defender back, and it was Wiggins, I believe. And he stopped them from scoring. That's pathetic. And then the other one that really drives me nuts is the pull-up 3 with nobody back. And still, IQ's going to do this, I guess. It's just annoying in some ways. But alas, IQ had a pretty good game in some ways. 34 minutes, 15 points, 6 of 12, 50% from the field, 3 of 9 from 3. He missed his only free throw, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers, and a steal, a +6. So, Manuel, you're my 5th star of the game. And you know what? I have to understand your energy is crazy, but it's also part of why you're so powerful when you are on. So it's kind of like a weird thing where he could have a really crazy outburst and just rattle off a bunch of points, but he could also look really bad and really unprofessional because of the style of play that he plays. Can look ugly when it doesn't work. So, man, it's tough. Emmanuel, thank you, though. Thank you. Going over the rest of the guys. Pirtle, he's okay. He's just, in some ways, Pirtle's not really, like, I know he's a little hurt right now, but the thing about with Pirtle is he's just not as big as he was last year with his offense and just his input for helping the team. In some ways, he's kind of like, they used to go to him a lot more and put the ball through him a lot more last year, partly because we didn't have Brandon. And this year, some of the touches that Yak would have been getting are going to Ingram right now. And that's part of the reason why in some ways, Pirtle's usage has gone down. This is also part of the reason why guys that are off the bench, his usage has gone down a bit. Because if you think about it, one of the most effective teams that we put out on the court in games these days is Brandon in the bench. But the thing is, Brandon is such uh, a focal point for our offense, and he's probably the most successful guy to play in our offense. That in some ways it takes away from Walter and Dick and Abaji and people like that. But those Brandon and the bench lineups have been huge for getting separation and going on positive runs to help our team. In particular, when Shed and Mamu and Colin Murray Boyles come out there and they run around with Brandon Ingram, that's usually a time in the game when the Raptors are making good things happen. And if they're down, they're coming back, or they're even taking the lead or building a lead. So I like that kind of stuff. Pirtle, 29 minutes, 8 points, 4 6, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 turnovers, a -9. Not the most sharp game. And as people said before the game, this is a tough matchup for Pirtle because Bam Adebayo is such a mobile big, and he's doing stuff like shooting threes. And he's all over the place. But alas, Pirtle is still very important to this team, and he does really good stuff for us. And we need it. We need him in our team. And anybody who thinks that he's expendable or we don't need him, you're crazy. We need that center depth. And we don't have no depth if we trade him to get another center. No, we need to add another center on top of what we already got and not do that. Josh Lewinberg, before the game, very open about this, saying that not Masai, excuse me, Bobby. I want to say Masai on the down low. Bobby Webster will be going to the Winter Showcase and talking to the teams in Orlando. And it's very highly likely that the Raptors will do a deal. That's very, very likely. And that he thinks, once again, and maybe they're listening and they understand that the Raptors are going to try and add a big man and not necessarily try to shake up their team like a big move like Anthony Davis or anything like that, but maybe just like try and do a move to just shore up our center depth position. So that's what we want to hear. Abaji got the start last night, and I was very happy about this. He's the right guy to be on Norm right from the start. You guys see how strong Norman is now? Norman's body is huge, and he's so awesome. Like, he's crazy. Like, he makes shots more than he misses. That's for sure. Let me go look at Norman just for a second, because I thought that he was pretty good last night. Actually, he shot 5 for 15, so maybe he did us a solid and didn't shoot as well as he would normally. 20 points for Norman in 34 minutes, 2 of 7 from 3, 8 of 10 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 turnovers, a -9 for our guy, Playoff Powell. The great thing about Norman that's interesting is that he gets fouled on threes. He obviously learned something from James Harden when he was on the Clippers with him, how to get fouled and go to the line and get 3 foul shots from getting fouled on threes. And it's really like this action where he brings his arms up to shoot, and somebody hits him on the arm while he's coming up, and then the ref's putting him on the line for 3 free throws. But yeah, Abaji, yeoman's work. I mean, seriously, if Norman Powell shot 5 for 15 last night, you had something to do with that, because that man's money. And the shots when he makes them in, woo-wee, and the way he can drive, the way he makes layups. Yeah, Norman Powell is such a good player, and he deserves to be an all-star this year. He definitely deserves to be an all-star. But Abaji did a good job trying to contain him. 22 minutes for Oshai, 5 points, 2 of 4 shooting, 1 of 2 from 3. I like that he made another 3 last night. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. No turnovers for Oshai Abaji. Colin Murray Boyles, the rookie, he was okay. He came out there and mixed it up a bit. He's still very green. He's still a little starstruck. He's still trying to get his feet under him. He's still trying to figure out this league a little bit. 15 minutes, 4 points, 2 of 2 shooting, made both the shots. The 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 1 block, a -12. Just a little sampler platter of Colin Murray Boyles last night in different situations. And, well, he was impressive. And I think most people in this league are really liking the draft pick that the Raptors got out of South Carolina, that he's a real prospect. And he's got a lot to him that's going to be very useful down the road. Jacoby Walter and Grady Dick, another kind of disappointing night for Walter. 0 for him and 0 for 2 from the field, both threes. 13 minutes for him, 2 assists, 0 turnovers, and that's basically it for Jacoby. He was a +8, but yeah, he just wasn't solid. Battle was available, but they didn't want to bring him in. Often if guys are probable or questionable, but they do get cleared, doesn't mean Darko's going to play them because he's already got them kind of penciled out. So even if they're a last minute add on, he'll only use them for emergency, but he's already got his set 10 that he's going to play for the night in the rotation. So Battle wasn't going to be getting in the game last night. I was pretty sure. Grady Dick, I'm going to say this right now. Honorable mention to Grady Dick. Grady Dick is fighting. He's fighting for his career. He's fighting for his NBA life. And in some ways, he had some success last night, but there was a mix of the good and the bad. The mix of the good and the bad. There was some moments that was just like, yes, Grady's finally succeeding. And then there are other moments where you're like, dang it, Grady. Dang it. But last, Grady Dick, 15 minutes, 10 points. That's pretty good points per minute production. 10 points in 15 minutes. That's not bad. 4 of 9 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. Some of these threes he's missing, though, are absolutely shots he should have nailed, and he'd have a higher point total if he just hit some of those open shots that absolutely he should have nailed. And then he missed his free throw, too, last night. 2 rebounds, 1 turnover, 2 steals, and a -5. Grady played good, though. It's going to be a mixed bag. In some ways, I want him to play more and more perfect. But right now, in some ways, with Jacoby and Grady, we just want to see signs of life. We just want to see a couple things that they could do well. And, people that keep asking me, why do we keep playing them? Well, we have to, because what's the alternative? We don't play them. They just sit on the bench and they devalue and they develop. They don't develop anymore. So the learning curve and the bumps in the road for Jacoby Walter and Grady Dick are absolutely necessary. And Darko has to continue taking them out for a spin every single game, even if they only play for 10, 15 minutes or even less, because they're not playing that well. It's the only way we'll get them out of there. In fact, I had flashes of if we let Grady shoot a lot, he probably can shoot himself out of a slump and he could probably get back on track with most of his shots. It's just we got to feed him the ball and we got to get him the ball. One of the things I had an idea of to do last night is why don't we get Grady and Jacoby to make a secret pact with each other? And maybe they already have. Maybe a couple of these guys are in this position, whether it's Oshai, whether it's Jameson. Maybe they need to go to each other and say, look, I'm going to look out for you. You get me. This is the ultimate team move. When it seems like none of y'all are getting the ball or getting to spots where you can be successful, maybe you can help each other and be cognizant of it. Grady, you had a pass that you got from Jacoby at one point last night that absolutely set you up for making a three. Now, that's what you got to do. You guys are teammates. And in some ways, one hand washes the other hand, one back washes the other person's back. You got to be cohesive and look out for each other and say, all right, Jacoby, I'm going to get you this time in the corner and you get me next time, Grady says. I want to see that kind of stuff out there because in some ways, if Emmanuel and Shed and Scottie and other guys on the team aren't going to be trying to set y'all up, y'all should coalition together to try and do it for each other and on your own, because in some ways it's annoying me because, there's a lot of opportunities for you guys to get offense when you're open and people aren't finding you. People are not finding you. So, yeah, there's the box score for the Raptors. Yeah, fantastic job as a team winning last night against the Miami Heat on the road. It's a really big deal right there. That's right. G's here. Good to see G. Ingram and Scottie. Wow. Jamal and Grady had impact too. Yeah, Grady did have impact with the mix of the good and the bad. He did have impact. And I like to see, good things happening for Grady Dick. I really, really do. Nameless is saying this. Scottie Barnes leading the league in blocks per forward. His stocks are, this is the crazy thing. Scottie's stats are the most similar to Victor Wembanyama's out of anybody in the league. Scottie's not 7'5". This Victor Wembanyama, he gets a lot of stocks, a lot of steals and blocks. And Scottie's the next guy on the list, if not tied with him or just above him. They're right around each other on those accumulations. So, man, this is cool. It's very, very cool. And whoever thought that Evan Mobley was Defensive Player of the Year, well, you better make Scottie Barnes Defensive Player of the Year this year because this man is showing it. And, the way he's impacting the late game situations towards winning with his defense, that's the kind of stuff that will get more consideration for all defensive team and Defensive Player of the Year. And Scottie said he wants Defensive Player of the Year. Well, you go get it because you're doing the right things for it, Scott. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're doing the right things. That's right. Reggie's here. Good to see Reggie. He's saying Fred Van Vliet. Hang on, it's jumped ahead. Let me make sure I don't miss any comments. Fred Van Vliet was brutally honest about Leonard. I appreciate that. That's the only way Fred can be. And in some ways, that's why he's a great NBA Players Association president. That's why he was a great addition to the Houston Rockets. That's why he was a great Raptor when he played for our team. Yeah, because he can't help but be authentically himself. I get it. I'm a bird of his feather. I flock with that because honestly, I can't help but be that too. And that's part of the reason why this channel is the way this channel is. And if you accept it or not, whatever, you can watch me if you don't. I don't care. Look, it's like I do what I do. And if you like what I do, well, that's it. And then Fred's the same way. He's the same way. And I loved how he explained, coming to Houston and them saying, here's the money. He didn't believe the money at first. And then he also described it as, and we want you to come in and tell everybody what to do. He's like, oh, you want to pay me 40 million and I get to tell everybody what to do? That's fantastic. And he's really relished that role. And honestly, he's had a huge impact for the Rockets franchise. On the down low, people can really point to Fred as being a real huge part of why y'all came from the cellar of the Western Conference up to being one of the top 3 teams in the West right now. Fred may not be playing this year, but the 2 years he spent tutoring the young Rockets were so important. And these guys were sponges and they needed the direction. They were losing so much. They were like, please tell us, Fred, please tell us what to do. And he ate it up and he really relished it. He's done such a good job with all that. Freddie is awesome. Yeah, he made it very clear. When I met Fred, it was right before he met Kawhi. I met him in the street and I said, have you met Kawhi Leonard yet? Because he had just gotten acquired by the Raptors that summer before we won the championship. And Fred said, I have not met Kawhi. I don't know him at all. And this was in August of 2018. And I think, it's interesting because Nick said this in an interview too, that they knew all year long that Kawhi was a one and done, and that he had no intention to come back. And Freddie reinforcing that on the Hello and Welcome podcast with that. The other cool thing that he said that was really interesting is that Toronto is Rich Paul's favorite city. This is very interesting. In fact, Fred revealed that in the negotiations with that summer with what he's going to do, Rich Paul was telling Fred to stay in Toronto because apparently Rich Paul loves Toronto. And they joke that, well, Brandon's here now, so he has a reason to come here. So maybe this is the reason why we always have a clutch client on our team, is because Rich Paul really wants a reason to be coming to Canada and hang out in our city because he loves it. That was one of the most interesting things about that interview with Alex and William, that Rich Paul's affinity for Toronto. I wouldn't have guessed that, but in some ways that's awesome. And in some ways that may shape how I look at clutch a little bit different for that, because the fact that Rich was telling Fred to stay in Toronto and not go to Houston, that's weird because we couldn't give the same money. And Fred describing that last meeting with Masai and Bobby as really just kind of procedural and kind of like a goodbye, because like, look, they just gave you 40 million a year. We're not going to be able to do that. I think the number we were going to give them was 30. We had a 30 million a year deal, and well, that's 10 more million a year. Freddie had to take it, and Bobby and Masai were basically saying that. Fred was in his feelings when all this stuff happened with our team going through it, and in some ways he didn't see it as clearly as he does now. And he says in hindsight, he really appreciates the Raptors. He really appreciates Bobby and Masai. He appreciates his old teammates like OG and Pascal and who they were and what they were all about. And he has a lot of joy, and he doesn't have any hard feelings about anything. Sure, some of the jackasses like he shall not be named and people like him pissed him off and were totally not cool. But Fred keeps it separated. He understands in fan nations, there's fans and there's trolls and there's haters and there's idiots. And I love Fred talking about this too extensively. He talked about how, where are the team fans? Where are the team fans in the NBA now? All these guys are like player fans. And in some ways, that's a direct shot on he shall not be named, because he's a player fan, obviously. And he's not a Raptor fan just like we are. And I love that Fred is like, I respect fans that are fans of teams more than fans of players in some ways. And I love that. Really, really, man, Fred has just unleashed the vault. This is one of the most interesting godsends from him tearing his ACL and being out this season. He's bored. He never thought he'd do a podcast. Well, he's bored. And, in some ways, this is a silver lining to a bad thing. In some ways, this guy's good at this. And I think it's going to be weird when he comes back to play. Will he continue to do podcasts like Draymond while he's playing? I don't know. I don't think he should, but he should do it in the offseason when he has time then. But during the season, maybe it's too much of a distraction, and he could step in some stuff because not only is he just an NBA player and kind of a captain of a team, he's the president of the Players Association. So he has to be careful with what he says, but he's a smart guy. He'll figure it all out. But man, that podcast is so good, Reggie. And his Unguarded, well, I can't wait to see what he says with Kevin Durant. Nameless is here. They're not going to talk about that, though. They're not going to talk about that, though. What, the brutal honesty of Fred VanVleet? Oh, yeah. They're not going to talk about that, though. No, what I talked about with the in-game ops from Miami? No, they probably won't. G saying this, Fred's pod and his interview with Hello and Welcome were very candid. Yeah. That's just how Fred is. He's just that way. What you see is what you get. There's no bullshit. It's like it saves time. It's like face value. Hello and welcome. Hello, Fred VanVleet, and welcome. You are you, and you're going to just unapologetically be you. And that's it. I love him for that. I love him for that, man. I think I don't know. We'll see. I'm thinking about sending him a clip and asking him a question and seeing if I can get on Unguarded. Because, I got to have some good questions for Fred. I don't know. Who knows? He really does enjoy that segment of his new show is the fan interaction with fan questions. So who knows? Maybe I got to put something together and get it sent to him. Who knows? We got to see. Yeah. Raptor Champs is back in the house. Good morning, Raptor Freaks and Champs. That's right. We won. And we're going for 14-0 with the 905 in about an hour. Tip-off will be in Westchester, New York. Westchester Knicks versus Raptors 905. Perfect 13-0 record on the line to try and get 14-0. I was going to do a watch long, but I got to jump off the air and say adieu to my father, who's been here with me for a couple weeks, and he's got to head back to Georgia. So in some ways, I want to be free and not having to call the game till 1 to be able to talk to him and help him, get to the airport. Fiercely saying this, good morning, fam, and happy Tuesday. Very competitive game yesterday. Lots of runs and lead changes. I loved it. Refs tried their best to help them, but Miami ran out of heat. Now, I don't really see it that way. There is a free throw discrepancy. And part of that's really Norman. Norman was a big, huge part of the free throw discrepancy. I don't get mad at that. Carl Lane and Kevin Cutler were pretty good about the possession arrow. That's the big indicator to me. Like when there's dubious plays where it could be out of bounds on either player, they were giving us the ball. So I can't say that the refs were manipulating in a way because obviously they could have railroaded us to a loss in different ways because this game was close in the fourth, but they just reffed. They stayed out of it, and we came and we won. I didn't really see any nefarious ref manipulation. Sure, the free throw discrepancy looks bad, but Norman's a master at getting the line. And if he gets fouled on a couple of 3-point shots, he's getting 6 free throws just for 2 of those things. And that's part of the reason why that happens. So I can't say this. Carl Lane was very fair. Jonathan Sterling was being good. And Kevin Cutler was right down the middle, which is good because Kevin Cutler can be a ref manipulator, but he wasn't. Even though they got 23 free throw attempts and we only got 9. But we won in other areas. We shot better than them by the end of the game. We were not shooting better than them from the start. We were really bad in the first quarter. Really, really bad shooting in the first quarter. In fact, it's kind of crazy the parallels to 905 and the Raptors sometimes. Like the main Celtics game, the same thing. The starters couldn't score jack shit, and it took David Roddy and Degenhart to come in and make the first 2 baskets off the bench. And it was a very similar kind of thing. The starters for the Raptors against the Heat last night had a very hard time scoring at the beginning. They were missing everything. And then you get some of those bench players like Shed in, and all of a sudden the things are starting to go a little better. Another parallel between 905 and the Raptors last night is Chucky and Jamal, is that you got these point guards in the fourth quarter taking over and trying to help the team guide them to the win. The lineup of Quick Shed was very effective last night. In fact, that's why Emmanuel's one of the 5 stars of the game too, because the lineups when we had Jamal and Emmanuel out there were absolutely something that the Miami Heat couldn't deal with. And that was really helpful at that time. But yeah, we shot better than them by the end of the game. We got 5 more shot attempts, 48% from the field. Not a great shooting game by either team, and not a good game because of turnovers, too. We did get way more threes than them, and that's the difference right there. 16 threes for the Raptors to only 9 for the Heat. And that is an Achilles heel for them. That is part of the reason why they're losing a lot, is because they can't hit threes just like we can't hit threes. Other teams that can hit threes, they can beat the Heat. And well, we hit more threes than them, so we beat them. And that's Brandon, that's Grady, that's Jamal, that's stuff like that. Yeah. Free throw attempts, we only got 9, like I said, and they got 23. And we didn't shoot well at the free throw line, 67%. The rebounding was bad early. Bam and Kel Ware were absolutely dominating the boards in the first half, but we evened it up more and more. And by the end of the game, Scottie and other guys being very concentrated on going to get rebounds was huge in the last quarter. Without that kind of attention to rebounding, we might have lost the game last night because we were getting out rebounded most of the game. And they evened it up by the end of the game, 45-45. Yeah, and both teams had 11 offensive rebounds. It's very weird how that split exactly. Assisted turnovers was a thing that mattered. And this is the thing. There were a lot of turnovers in this game. And the Raptors assisted turnovers were 33-21, which is absolutely horrible. We do not usually do this. Like 21 turnovers for the Raptors is not normal. It's not normal. We're usually 15 or less, if not 10 or less. And getting 21 turnovers is not good. They had 19 turnovers themselves, but they had 20 assists. So a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio for them. And we're more 3-2, which isn't bad. 33-21, 20-19. I think the assist to turnover ratio stat is such a telling stat in Darko's system about whether we're successful or not. And well, it's an ugly game. A lot of turnovers for both teams. Yeah. And then points in the paint was interesting. That kind of evened out at the end of the game, 44-42. Yeah, crazy game. In some ways, the Heat beat us in a lot of stats, but the three-pointers, the key stat, making way more three-pointers than them. Really, really good. Yeah, Monique is saying her stars of the game were B.I., Scottie, IQ, Jamal, and Mamu, Grady, and Yak. Yeah, that's a pretty good lineup. Bryce is saying this. Ja Morant dropped a new shoe called the Ja 3 Jurassic Park. It has a similar claw tear on him like Raptors basketball. No, we don't need this man coming here. No, I don't know if Steven Spielberg or somebody else got a copyright infringement. I mean, we don't need to be worried about that because in some ways Jurassic Park, it's just an unofficial thing with us. But maybe, I don't know. Whatever Ja's doing is whatever Ja's doing. That's interesting, Bryce. Yeah, I wouldn't read into this. Seriously. I don't want him coming up here. Fierce is saying this. It was nice to see so many Raptors jerseys on the broadcast. We are everywhere. Yeah, Trevor was there. And hopefully Trevor enjoyed the atmosphere and kind of just the victory dance and the feeling good, maybe talking some smack. I think he was chanting something and people were kind of giving him dirty looks. He's just enjoying it, man. Being in the opposing team's arena and your team wins and you're like one of the few people that are rooting for the team. There are a lot of Raptors fans there, I'm sure. That must be fun. That's a lot of fun, I'm sure. Very fun. That's right. Monique's saying offense needs work. Yeah. I think RJ comes back. That'll help a lot. RJ has practiced the last 2 days, guys. That's on the down low. People haven't really been talking about that, but he's been cleared to practice and he has been practicing. He may not be full contact, but he has been coming to practice and starting the ramp up to be returning to our game. I don't think he'll be back for Milwaukee, but he could be. He could very much be back for Thursday's game against Milwaukee. If not, it'll be Saturday against the Celtics that he's coming back. I'm pretty sure he's going to be back for one of the next 2 games, guys. And we're going to be full strength again with RJ Barrett on our team, God willing. Knock on wood. That's right. Blackhawks here. He's coming in with balls. All right, Hito Turkoglu. Ball. That's right. Wayne's here. Good to see Sergeant Arm Wayne Strainer. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Good win last night. Playing the Heat is always a 50-50 proposition. They'll get one game, but we're a better all-round team. Solid number 4 or 5. Fuck Rodgers. all 10 fingers. I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily exactly Rodgers or just the whole idea when you're selling a team and you're in that process, teams kind of go into stasis with their salary and not making huge moves. In some ways, you could look at the Brandon thing as a Rodgers approved deal because it was right at the end before. And obviously, they're like, yeah, you can do this, Masai. You can go ahead and get Brandon Ingram. This makes sense. And we'll do this one. Some people say, well, if they didn't want to do Siakam and Van Vliet and Anunoby, why did they do extensions on Jakob or IQ or people like that, Scottie? I mean, listen, Fred gave you the window to see it from that time. And remember, this is a couple of years ago. Fred's been gone 2 years. And some of the money that's been invested in the last year is more in the Rodgers era and Rodgers approved with Keith Pelly stamping it. So that's part of it right there is that the window was dubious when the stuff was coming up with Siakam and all those guys. And it's just what it was what it was. Also, Fred had some very interesting comments on culture and team camaraderie and teams doing well. When there's cracks in the team, there's problems. And he made a couple allusions to people on the team having personal issues at the time and that manifesting in the confusion and team not doing well. He admitted it's like a team with me, OG, Pascal, Scottie, Jakob. This should be a winning team. Yeah, that's weird. It should have worked. But I'm going to say this once again. Nick Nurse was a huge part of the problems with our team because I think that Nick had huge personal problems going on behind the scenes and they were manifesting in chaos on our team with miscommunication and other issues. Now, was it an issue between him and Earl Watson? Was it an issue in his own personal life with his family and things he was dealing with? I have no idea. But I'm very positive that a lot of the cracks in the culture for the Raptors, the last 2 years Nick coached, were from him himself. I'm pretty positive about that. Now, there were also overtures that, Fred didn't get along with Scott. But that's not totally true. This is the thing. And this is how Fred said it. It's like, look, we may not fuck with each other off the court. Like we may not get each other like personality wise, but on the court in basketball, we respect each other and we were great teammates and we love each other. And that's true. It's consistent with everything I've heard from Fred and I've heard from Scott. Scott has the utmost respect for NBA champion and GOAT, Fred VanVleet. He's one of his vets as a rookie. He came in, he got to be under him, learning from him as a young player, and that's invaluable. In some ways, Scottie has appreciation for Fred VanVleet for the rest of his life because he's one of these guys that helped shape him as a young player early on in his career. Whether they didn't get along because, like I said, Fred's an old soul. He's a very no bullshit kind of guy. And maybe Scottie's a little more playful and maybe a little bit more youthful soul. That those didn't really jibe exactly. And in some ways, everybody's got an ego and everybody's got a kind of thing about what they want to do. And I'll bet you Fred, in some ways, along with Siakam and OG, saw a world where they were going to be the next group for the Raptors and they wanted their real chance. But he could read the writing. And it would be easy for VanVleet to become resentful towards Scottie. But he didn't. He kept it professional and he kept teaching him and he did what Nick asked him. And he was a positive influence on Scottie's life, not an angry jerk who shut him out and did talk to him. So the thing on the court and the basketball stuff with Scottie and Fred is respect and love. They didn't really get along off the court. Not that they didn't get along. They just didn't have anything in common is really what it was. But there was never any kind of anger towards each other. It's just that in some ways they're very different people. And, the other thing it's got to hurt in some ways for guys to share a team with Scott and understand he's the future. He's the one that the team's doting on and looking like they're going to invest in and bring forward. And you guys may not have time on the team at some point. It's very mature and very, very well done the way that Fred carried all that in a professional way that in some ways was positive for the team, positive for himself, and positive for everybody, because that could have been a disaster, y'all. That could have been a toxic dump of craziness. And it manifested in not winning in a lot of ways I think it's because of Nick's problems was the main problem. But Fred said, what is there to be upset about? The Raptors are winning again. I got my 40 million. I'm in a spot I like. Pascal's got his money. He's in Indiana. He made the finals last year. OG's on the Knicks. He's doing great things. Norman's on Miami. He's probably an all-star. And Nick got his spot with the Sixers and his bullshit. So it's like there's no hate. It's all love. And the respect for the Raptors franchise, the city of Toronto, and the Raptors fan base is intact with people like Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, and that's all that matters. And I'm telling you, Freddie absolutely loves our team, and he's still rooting for us, even though he wears a Rockets jersey now, because he matters to him. He wants to see the Raptors do well as an alumni. And you could tell by the way he talked about, well, I'm so glad to see them back up, right? The way they are right now. Freddie's awesome. You got to love him, man. You got to love him. Monique's saying this, Jamal plus 27. Yeah, that chain, so fun, man. Let's go look at the Instagram stories. It's funny. All right, we got Tyson Degenhart on the game day photo for the 905. They're going to start in about 40 minutes, guys. I'm going to try and get done in the next 40 minutes just so we can watch the game. And, I'm not doing the watch long. I apologize, guys. I just have to be free to not be on the mic for the whole time till 1. But yeah, Degenhart's kind of doing the Scottie psycho look on there. Degenhart does an intense look on the game day picture. But yeah, Scottie was going all crazy, like George the Animal Steel at the end of the game there. There's AJ Lawson in the City Edition jersey on the Raptors court at Scotiabank Arena. You got to love that. Hopefully he's available for today's game against Westchester, because I have a feeling Mobo's not going to be there. And, we're going to need AJ to be there with Chucky and Elijah and them. Guys, the Toronto Tempo are going to release their jersey, and they already did. I don't understand this. Teresa, you did this whole setup for the Eaton Center at 1 o'clock, but you went on breakfast television this morning and revealed the jersey already like 2 hours ago. Like, what is going on here? You guys are so weird with your leaks and things coming out at weird times. It's like your tempo's offbeat. It's an offbeat tempo. That could be cool. Maybe like some weird acid jazz or something like that. There's some offbeat tempo to this, because y'all were hyping this thing with these security guards at the Eaton Center with the Sephora purple thing around it. I know you're going to do it at 1 anyway, a public revealing of the Toronto Tempo jerseys. I've seen them now, and it's kind of ruined. And I wanted to do a reaction to it tomorrow on the air, but I've already seen them now. And why are you guys doing a countdown to 1 o'clock at the Eaton Center if you guys are going to go on breakfast television and show the jerseys this morning anyway? I don't know. Either way, I'll review the jerseys tomorrow. I didn't really want to talk about them too intensely today, because that was my whole stream for tomorrow, is the new jersey for the Toronto Tempo. We'll talk about wrap ready and revealed today, guys. This will be the historic day that the Raptors, the Tempo revealed their brand new jerseys for the WNBA season next year. That's awesome, man. So yeah, Kelly Olynyk is at the NBA Cup in Vegas. They're going to play today, y'all. It's going to be Spurs versus Knicks, and he is hyped. Go get that money, Kelly. That's right. Beat them bad. I want to see y'all win this NBA Cup over the Knicks. So go Spurs, go. Go on, Dylan and Stefan and Victor. You guys win this one. Do it for Bismack. That's right. Grady's got a highlight from him beating the clock. He had that one shot he hit right at the buzzer of the 24-second clock and from the corner. That was nice. That was one of those plays where I was like, all right, Grady, do more of that. Do more of that, my guy. And he had a steal and one. They had a nice little tip out, and he's running the court, and they throw it up to him. And in a nice finish, there were 2 defenders near him. He kind of got tripped up, and he got the layup, and he got the free throw also. So good job, Grady. Mixed bag. Some bad plays, but a lot of good plays yesterday. So Grady will take it. You were helpful to the win for sure. He's got a cool Topps Chrome signed Grady Dick basketball card. Ooh, that's a cool card. Colin Murray Boyle's posting the team photo in the locker room, and it's weird, man. This photo is hilarious, man. If I analyze this photo, first of all, Colin, Jonathan, and Scottie look like they just hit a blunt. They all have blunt eyes. Like their eyes are all like, eh. Maybe they're doing like the anime like happy face, like where it's like I don't know. It seems like that, because Scott's definitely cheesing a smile there along with Jonathan. And then we got this trio up front of IQ, Shed and Jacoby with their they're hilarious. They look like they're some sort of cool rock band or something like that. And Garrett, he saw Grady and Jameson doing these poses on the side. He's like, "I'll get the guns out, guys, and I'll show that old late 30s man can still look very in shape." And boy, his physique is very like no fat. This man is showing it off. He's like, "Yeah, I may be the old man on this team, but look at my body." Is kind of what he's doing. RJ's doing his flex too on the other side. Yak's in the back looking like, "Where's Waldo?" Kind of just like, "Hey guys, I'm back here." And yeah, it's cool. And then Mamu, I'm like, "Where's Mamu?" And I think he's behind Yak and Brandon and hiding behind, but you can see him in the mirror. So it's a complete team photo. It's just Mamu's hiding in the back there somewhere. Jay Simpson was at the game last night. That's one of Scotty's best friends. And he has a nice picture of the crew of them, the home team. And it's Jonathan, John French at the game last night, Scotty's brother. And yeah, there's both his brothers there, and Jay Simpson. That's very, very cool. So yeah, they call it home team. And we did see Brian Macon at the game also last night, sitting in the media row, looking very at home at the Miami arena. But yeah, Scotty, good stuff, man. Way to do it in front of your home crowd of your hometown with your mom in attendance and all that stuff. I love the picture of you with your mom embracing after the game. So cool. There's Jamal Shed coming in the game on his Instagram. And there's that big, huge, cheesy smile. So exciting, man, that he got the chain. He's so happy. Like, you can't fake that happiness. Yeah, they had a really bad singer for the anthems last night, and they absolutely butchered "O Canada" before the game. This guy who sang "O Canada" was horrible. And I was thinking about Jonathan and Jamal and Jacoby because they're so fans of "O Canada." I'll bet you if you ask Jamal, "How was the "O Canada" song last night?" He'd be like, "Oh my God, that guy was horrible. He really did not know how to sing "O Canada." If he was trying to do that on purpose, it was disrespectful toward our country. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, Scotty was awesome, man. Like, some crazy passes, long court passes to get to open shots on the other side. Just a really great vision all around, looking for stuff. And there's the quick shed and Jamal's picture there. IQ high five in Jamal. That's how it works right there. Mamu showing himself lacing up the shoes before the game. And there is the score, 106-96, 10-point win for the Raptors. Just like with the 905 against the Maine Celtics, I say if they get a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, that's the margin you need to hold, and you can land that plane safely. Because if it's closer, woo-wee, look out. You're going to have a barn burner. It's going to be a tough game to close out. And it's much better to have that double-digit lead in the last 6 minutes to hold it out. There's Jonathan taking a picture of the city of Miami, Florida. And I've heard from Doug Smith that the Raptors will not return to Canada for the next couple days. They're going to stay in Miami, and they're going to practice there because their next game, I believe, is in Milwaukee. And they're just going to go straight to Milwaukee after this one. Yeah, they're going to stay in Miami, not even cross the border, practice in Miami for a couple days, and then they'll go to Milwaukee tomorrow, and they'll be playing Milwaukee on Thursday night. Just so you all know, that's the schedule with where your team's going. Manuel's got the win from last night. There's Scotty hugging his mom on his Instagram. Yeah, and the picture is taken by Alyssa, so she's obviously on the road with him and there with the baby. So Scotty can be having a big happy family with mom, baby, and baby mama. Yeah, that's a mama, baby mama. Yeah, all of them. Let's see. Also, there he's got the picture of them in the locker room. I love these pictures that are coming out with the team flexing and posing, and it's just such a great symbol of the all for one for all, win for all of the Toronto Raptors right now. That these guys do this ritual of taking the team photo after. And Scotty is really happy as of last night because he posted straight up on his Instagram stories, "God is great. God is great. Thank you, God. Thank you, Creator above. All the glory to you." And Scotty and the Raptors' success, all the glory to you. If anything I do in my life is worthwhile and of purpose, I do it in your service and for you, because I want to protect what you created, because what you created is the truth and is what is right in this world. And that's the trees, us, the animals, everything that's natural in this world. And that's what we need to understand more and more, that God lives within the life forces that he has created on this planet. And people disrespecting those life forces are not with God, is what I'm going to say right there. So, yeah, God is so great. I agree with you, Scott. Thank you, God. All the glory to you. And I only do this in your honor. And I do this for you because I want to help. That's all I do. It is not no ego in this. This is all for you. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Also, Jacoby posting good stuff with him walking into the game. Let's see. Jameson's got the score from last night. That's awesome. Elijah Martin has got his jersey up in his high school, 55 Toronto Raptors. I love to see it. Elijah also had a thing yesterday that said, mean people, happy people are not mean to people. And I think that's a big statement for the United States in general. If you're mean to people, you're not a happy person. And there's a lot of people being mean to a lot of different people down in the United States right now, and hate and discrimination and all kinds of weird ways right now. So they're not happy people. And I agree with that. That's right. Let's see. Fred Van Vliet has got a question for the audience for his new podcast, guys. Watching Phillip Rivers come back in the NFL and start playing again all of a sudden after being out for a couple of years, what former NBA players do you think could do what Phillip Rivers is doing in the NFL right now in the NBA? And he's got pictures of Carmelo, Jamal Crawford, and Beasley, and it looks like who's the other guy? Joe Johnson. Do you think any of those guys could do it? I mean, Joe Johnson's been in the big three with Ice Cube and them, and he's kind of in good shape. Jamal Crawford seems like he could play still. Carmelo was playing at a very high level still when he retired, so maybe these guys could do a Phillip Rivers. But that's one of the questions Fred is asking for his Unguarded podcast right now. So go answer him if you want to get your answer in on the show or something like that. Yeah, it was revealed yesterday. His first big guest on the interview is going to be Kevin Durant. And I hope that Fred asks him about his social media activity. I really do. I hope that Fred asks him about why are you always talking to the fans on Twitter. I want to hear what he has to say about that. There's Norman coming to the game last night. Cool as a cucumber. Norman, you're awesome. It's so good to see you last night. Very, very fun to play against our old. The Miami Heat are very likable right now. I like their team. I guess it's Davion and Norman, Andrew Wiggins. Come on. We love these guys. I don't hate the Miami Heat right now. It's so weird. I actually really like them, and I wish them well. I honestly do. So Heat fans, you coming in here, you have one of the most likable Miami Heat rosters in a long time. Like, man, once you got Norman, I'm like, man, Norman, you can't hate Norman. Norman's just too much of a Raptors legend. He's like one of those cult classic legends from the Raptors. You got to love Norman. So right from there, you're loving it right there. All right, I think that's about it for the Instagram stories for today. Yeah, this is crazy, man. I'm looking at this jersey now, the Tempos jersey. So they got two styles. They got the one with the shot, what is it, Bordeaux or something like that, the purple color, and then they got a white one, obviously a home and away. And well, there's only going to be two jerseys for the Toronto Tempo in their first season. They're very simple. It looks like there's a very nice stitching. I like how clean the white one looks. It's just a very simple Toronto and the number and CIBC underneath it. Yeah, these jerseys will work. I'll have to see how they pop with the court and the arena and the way they look on the court and against other teams with their color schemes. But I think that this will look pretty good. Especially the purple color is going to be very different. It's not going to be like a lot of any other pro teams because it's a very specific color. It's like chartreuse. No, it's what is it? It's called Bordeaux or something like that. I don't know. They have really weird names for them. But I like the jerseys. They're simple. And it looks like they made those little lines on the logo down the sides of the jersey, like on the sides here. So, yeah, we'll have to get a better look at them. And, we'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. Yeah, let's see. Fiercely saying Scottie's face after muscling his way to score in the paint. Eminem's me of LeBron when he made that dunk last week and he had a crazy face. Yeah, there's been I think it's like a Popeye the Sailor Man look is what I would call it. It's like a moving of your jaw, like like Jamison Battle was doing it on the bench last year. Scottie would do like a monster dunk, and they'd flash over to Jamison. He's going, Scottie was kind of doing that after the dunk, after the flexing and looking like a crazy kind of thing going on there. Yeah, and I've seen LeBron do it too. But nah, perfect timing on the flex. Scott, your flex has not been totally the right time earlier this season, but that was the perfect time to show that burst of emotion and flex, because that is seriously, you got to do it on your finishing move. You can't do it in the first quarter. You can't do it in the first half. You got to do it in crunch time. When you do a crazy, amazing game-winning play, then you flex. That's when you do it, Scott. And you did exactly the right time last night. Exactly the right time. Yeah, I love the energy too. It was awesome. Name was saying Darko must feel pretty nice for out coaching Spoelstra. Yeah, he takes this very seriously. That's one of the things right away in the interview after the game. He's saying this is a really good team that we beat. I love their team. I love their depth. I like their players. He's lauding them. Instead of coming in and talking about his team right away, he wanted to give praise to Eric Spoelstra and the Miami Heat right away in the interview. Because I'm telling you right now, I know Coach Rajakovic looks at Spoelstra as the top of the league in his profession. That it's like, look, he's the standard. And when we play the Heat, that's a very special matchup for Darko, because he is gauging himself as a coach against Eric Spoelstra. Because Eric Spoelstra really is probably the best coach in the league right now. Steve Kerr's fallen off. Popovich is gone. Nick Nurse was an idiot and screwed up his career going to Philadelphia. So now Spoelstra really is kind of the best coach in the NBA. And, it's that Ric Flair thing. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And when Darko beats the Miami Heat, he gets extra special feelings of like accomplishment, because he's going against Spoelstra. That's the truth right there. Yeah, there was a lot of in-game decisions to influence the outcome. Yeah, these guys were doing switches and adjustments all game long. That's part of the chess match. That's part of Darko versus Eric. And, one of the things we have an advantage on with our team compared to other teams is we are fast at adjusting, because our guys get it and they're blindly listening to Darko. Darko tells them this is how you got to change it for the third quarter at halftime. They're doing it. Some teams don't listen to their coach. And even if their coach tells them at halftime, this is how you could win, some knuckleheads aren't even tuning in and listening to him. Or if they did, they don't know exactly how to implement it because they're not smart enough to figure it out fast enough. Our team is advanced. If we were in a college course, we're AP. And in some ways, we are like, high IQ players can listen. And then the trust is there with your coaching staff. You can make adjustments and you can have huge impacts in the third quarter and change it. And that's once again, part of the secret of our success in the third quarter with huge third quarters after halftime is we're making adjustments and our players are smart and listening and trust the coaches and they make the changes and they work. That's a big part of it right there. That's a big part of the success for the Raptors in the second half of games. In some ways, maybe Darko says go out there and just have fun in the first half. And that may be why in some ways it's not totally looking right. And then they clean it up as the game goes. It's like, all right, you can't do that anymore. That looked horrible. Don't do that again. But yeah, let's do this because, Pat Delaney just saw this and Jama's seen this. And we're going to go ahead and do this change and adjustment right now. And boom, all of a sudden we have a change in the game and boom, good things are happening for the Raptors. Good things are happening for the Raptors. That's right. Reminds me, I don't know why you wrote Eminem. Are you a big fan? Is that in your autocorrect? That's pretty crazy, Fiercely. I love it. Neil's saying this. First thing Darko said, glory to God. Translation, we needed this. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, both teams are in a bad place. In some ways, the Miami Heat can weather this a little better than us because in some ways, like we said, Spoelstra is the cream of the crop. He's at the top. And in some ways, they lose 5 in a row and this kind of stuff. In some ways, we could get disastrous, especially with our press and our fan nation. The thing about it is, like I said at the beginning, the standings are so tight right now. And this should really be the huge motivator for guys like Scottie is look at the standings and look at what you guys did. You got immediate reward for winning the game last night, launching back up to third in the Eastern Conference. You lose, you're in a play-in spot. That's just how crazy the tightrope of winning and losing is right now for the Raptors. And I'm going to say this right now. We're about to go to Milwaukee. I have a good feeling we're going to kick Milwaukee's ass on Thursday. And, keep going in that direction right now because then we play Milwaukee. Then we get Boston in Toronto on Saturday. We owe them one. And then Brooklyn on Sunday in Brooklyn, which is a nighttime customs trip. But it is Brooklyn on a Sunday in Brooklyn. So it's very plausible we could get a 4-game win streak coming up in the next 3 games. So we just got to take care of each one individually. I feel real good about most of these games. I feel like we could beat the Celtics at home on Saturday. We owe them one, and we need to beat them. And the rest of the rest of this month, we have 14 games in December. And well, we have like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 more left in this month. I want to get 5 more because we've got 2 wins already. And if we win 5 more out of the last 8, we will have a 500 record for December. We don't want to have a losing record in December. And we have lost a lot in December already. But we can right the ship before the end of the month because there's still a lot of games. And if we can win 5 out of the last 8 in this month, well, we're 500 for the month. And I'll take that after the shaky start to December after a win over Portland. Yeah, I'll take that right there. Yeah, let's keep going. Let's see. Scottie went, yeah, that's the right symbol for that. You know what? Can we officially make that pink chompy dinosaur with the teeth out, the Scottie Barnes? Look, that's shorthand for that now. That's the Scottie Barnes. We are monsters. Jameson battle on the bench, kind of. Yeah, that look. That's what that's going to be from now on. I declare that to be the Scottie Barnes monster look. That's right. Fiercely saying this. I'm glad Shed got the chain, but honorable mention to Grady as well. Yeah, honorable mention to him as far as my stars. Like I said, it's a mixed bag. He's got to tighten up and get more and more perfect. But the signs of good things happening with Grady were there last night. And that's all we can ask for is improvement and contribution to winning. And, well, we saw that. We saw that. Grady was helpful to last night. He was. Most saying Jamal playmaking was fire. Yeah, Jamal was, man, in some ways, look, he didn't have to score a lot of points and have a huge impact in the game as a floor general and a leader out there. And how fun is it for him to do it against a mentor and Davion Mitchell? Yeah, Mitchell's fun, man. He's a cool, interesting player. And that Miami Heat, like I said, I like that Miami Heat team. And maybe I like him more because Tyler was out. Fiercely saying respect to Fred. Yeah, very much respect to Fred. He's crazy. Yeah, that Monique's bringing up the Colin Murray Boyles block on Bam Adebayo. Yeah, that was pretty good. Bam really was sure he made that basket, and Colin got all ball. And in fact, I was surprised the refs gave him that call because normally in that situation with a veteran and all-star Team USA guy like Bam Adebayo, they're not giving that call to the rookie, and they'll just call a foul even if he got it cleanly. So very impressive that Colin got that block on Bam, and also that the refs didn't call a foul just for calling a foul. They could have, and they didn't. They said, no, that was clean. He got it. Yeah, there was some really nice defensive plays last night by both teams, honestly. There was some really good defense by both teams. Yeah, Fiercely saying, oh, yeah, Mo, CMB's block was fire. Yeah. Leonardo's here to say, go Raptors. That's right. Let's go and get another W against Milwaukee on Thursday. And first, we're going to get a W for 9:05 against Westchester Knicks. In about 15 minutes, the game will be tipping off, and I'm going to try and get out of here. Neil saying Bam seemed a bit overconfident in this game. Well, in some ways, the Heat, in some ways, don't have a fire lit under them. In some ways, they are tough and they're doing stuff. It's Heat culture. But also at the same time, their offensive woes really make them go through stagnation. They have the same problems we have. They can have periods of time in the game where they just don't score, and they have a really hard time with their offense. They have a lot of the same problems as us. So that Spider-Man meme is really on point for Raptors and Heat last night. Very much on point for both of them. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying, Lex, have you noticed BI often chats with refs and respectfully asks about fouls? I believe that is why it helps him drawing fouls. He's up there. Yeah, well, he's been in this league for 10 years, and these guys know each other. It's like if you see the refs enough of them, you actually do develop personal relationships with them. That's why Garrett Temple is so helpful to our team, because he has a long relationship with most of the long-standing refs. And it's the younger refs, they're in some ways like rookies in the league. They have to learn these refs. They're very young. They just come in and they've just been in for a couple of years. And sometimes those personalities don't get with the hierarchy of the players. And that's why you'll see coaches and players like LeBron chewing out referees that are younger, because it's like, whoa, you just got here. You don't understand how it is. This is how it is. And then they look over at Tony Brothers, and Tony Brothers is like, yeah, LeBron's right. This is how it is, young rookie ref. You know, relationships matter with the refs, and yelling at them. You know, Scottie was a little bit too complaining about trying to get and ones, In some ways, he can make people think the refs are bad to us just because Scottie is so demonstrative with his emotions. He's like, whoa, and all this stuff. He even gets hurt. He's always like, it's a big show. I'm not saying he's not getting hurt, and I'm not saying that he's not getting fouled. It's just that he's so expressive that it's very hard not to see him expressing himself in disdain when he doesn't get a foul. And some of that stuff needs to be cut out because some of it's useless. The ref's not going to do anything about it, and he's losing his breath when he's yelling at them running up the court. So there's got to be a balance there. There's got to be a finessing. And, well, maybe Brandon's approach is better for Scott, where people are shooting free throws and you kind of just walk up to the side of a ref and you just start kind of talking to them calmly instead of going, oh, come on. He's going to figure it out over time. But they are giving Scott more and more respect as a top player in this league, which is really, really good. That's right. That's right. Fred, very open. Respect to Fred. Yeah, always respect to Fred. A GROAT, one of the greatest Raptors of all time, a top 4 Raptor in my book. Seriously, because you go from his path to where he got to. That's an amazing story. And there will be a movie about Fred VanVleet one day. There should be. There should be. That's right. Neil's saying this. Norman baited us for a few fouls out there. The foul discrepancy was high, and we still overcame. Yeah, making more threes than them. Yeah, Norman, that's Norman learning from James Harden. James Harden is a teacher to other NBA players. He taught Joel Embiid how to flop, and he taught Norman how to foul bait at the free three-point line. That's right. Oshai was a clamp. Yeah, he was pretty good on the down low. If you're watching, you're paying attention. Oshai, very solid with his defense, and it helps us. That's right. Neil's saying this. I give Grady a pass. 40% from 3 is more than acceptable. Yeah, y'all cut off the comments because I'm going to try and land this plane in the next 15 minutes. Mo's saying this. Lex, please explain to me, why do fans look at the standings so early? I don't care who we face in the playoffs. Just make the playoffs, and we will do great, is what she's saying, I'm sure. You know, in some ways, this is such a dogfight. And right now, the standings do matter. They do matter because it's so close. And in some ways, wins and losses at this time of the season will matter for later in the season, for sure. We've had some losses that I wish we could have back this season already, and our record would look even better. You know, this is a very competitive Eastern Conference. It's not really stratifying in the way it normally does. It really is a crazy thing where you got the Detroit Pistons and right now the Knicks, who are a little bit separated from the rest of the pack. And then you've got us, Miami, Boston, Philadelphia, Orlando, Cleveland, all in a row. And they're all like two or three games apart from each other, from like 3 all the way down to 9. So there's so much movement where we could go up and down. And every single day it can change, and it will go up and down for different teams. It's nice to be in third again. And, you know, we want to be ensconced in third. We want to be ensconced in top 4. That was my goal this whole summer. And I kept saying it, and people probably laughed at me. The Raptors are going to be a top 4 Eastern Conference team, and we need to get used to this. And, well, I want to keep that true to things. So they need to keep winning so we can stay up there, because it's home court advantage. And sure, there's a lot of games still, but some of the things that happen with the standings right now, Monique, will determine some of the stuff at the end of the season, because there's different directions these teams are going to go in, whether it's an elevator down for the Miami Heat last night and an elevator up for the Raptors last night. So we got to be on top of this right now. Even if it's like, well, it's a long season, it won't matter. Let's just see where it ends at that time. No, this is the heat of the battle right now. And all these teams are setting paths for the rest of the season with how they win and lose in December right now. And this is important. Shaq Lindsay saying this win is another step in the right direction, for sure. This win against Miami has shown me that we are far from the bottom and not too far from the top. Just a few changes here and there, and we will be in the room with the contenders. And, you know, that change, Bobby Webster, let's see what happens. Winter meetings are open, and they are talking in Orlando. And, well, Josh Lundberg says it's inevitable. The Raptors will probably make a move before New Year's. So we'll have to see that. Yeah. Neil's saying this. I subscribed to Fred VanVleet's Unguarded Sessions. First episode was a banger. Yeah, the first 2 episodes. He's got 2 out already, and they're fantastic. Fantastic. Cabby in the second episode. Yeah, Fred just really, he's as real as it can get. In some ways, I appreciate him because I see a lot of traits that I value in myself in Fred. And that's just a straight shooter, authentic, and a pure joy and a pure love. And what you see is what you get. is right here. It's the same thing on this channel. What you see is what you get. And today I'm talking about Celebration Maple Leaf cookies. How Canadian can it be if the cookie's shaped like a maple leaf? You guys see these in the grocery store. This is Leclerc. And they do have plants in the United States and Canada, but these are Canadian cookies. Come on, it's a maple leaf. So if you want a good snack, a maple cookie, a maple leaf celebration cookie from Leclerc is a great option. So there's your straight goods on Canadian goods. It's patriotic in itself because of that. I feel like I should eat one, but I'll save them for the game for the 905 because I'm trying to get this done in the next 10 minutes because that 905 game is coming on very fast, and I want y'all to go watch it, and I want to be on at that point. Wayne's saying, saw some major minutes of the Pistons game last night. I was impressed with their style and execution. They are not it. So the best team in the East are the Raptors. Well, that's a declaration I'd love to hear, and I hope it's true. We'll just have to see more evidence as time goes on. Shaq Lindsay saying, there's no question there's no question our stars, B.I., Scottie, IQ, Shed, Sandro, and RJ are keepers. I know. I mean, these are winners. These are good guys that are playing together, and they're all for one, win for all. And that's important for what we're doing right now. Kespera Firm 1306 is here, man. So it was definitely MLSC's machinations that led to all the blunders between 2022 up to last year. I knew some of it was accountable, but it might have played a larger part than expected. I mean, it's just a weird thing where if a big, huge corporation's about to change ownership, sometimes there's a stasis that happens with assets where they freeze things and they don't really want to make new investments. Part of it's very smart because if you invest in a big, huge contract, it's legally binding, right? They've signed, and if the new ownership is like, I hate this player. Why did we sign this guy like a year before? And we didn't really even want to do this. And then it gets all confusing and things can get like emotional or like a wrong. And it's like, well, this is different. We have new owners now and it's totally changed. So in some ways that it really should have been something that just clued in on people's brains around then. I wish I had saw this and understood this a little bit more. But in some ways, it's like, yeah, we got to remember that ownership change in a franchise is a long process, and it happens over years. And the writing was on the wall. We knew Rodgers was going to take control from Tannenbaum. And in some ways, Masai and Bobby had to work with deals knowing that was true. And I think, in some ways, I think it all worked out for the best for everybody, considering. And in some ways, we could blame Rodgers for part of this. But in some ways, I don't think that there's anything wrong with us shedding our skin and going to a new era, because sometimes people hold on to the past just for nostalgia. And it actually really does hurt your team. And it doesn't allow you to have a good transition to a fresh start. So the other NBA teams have done changes and rebuilds, and they've held on to players from the past that don't fit in the new era, and it absolutely screws up their next era. So I am glad the Raptors worked out this way. In some ways, I know there's people that watch this channel and they say, why can't we still have Siakam right now? And I get it. But this is the way it happened. And in some ways, we're better for it. Siakam's better for it. Fred's better for it. And that's what matters right there. Great comment, Kespera. I appreciate you being here, and thank you for your subscription. Stargate saying that that's the NBA's fault, though. They market individual players more than they do teams. Only team they market really are the Lakers and Celtics. Other than those, they don't market their teams with players. That's why it's up to media like me and other channels to bring pride for team culture. And, Fred said it. It's like Raptors Nation, fan nation's crazy and so good. We are awesome. So in some ways, even if we don't get promoted on the level like the Lakers or Celtics league-wide as a team brand, we've got team branding. And it's evidenced in all the Raptors fans that were in Miami at Cassia Center yesterday. Yeah, like Trevor J. That's it right there. We have a team brand. And it's very strong. Oh, yeah, it's very, very strong. Very, very strong. Monique saying, great fourth quarter indeed. Yeah, took over, outscored them very well then. Reggie saying, I don't see Dallas parting with Daniel Gafford. I still think the most realistic option is Dwight Powell. I don't know if it's the right guy. I mean, we really do need a rebounder. We need a solid rebounder and defender. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I'm not sure. Blackhawks saying, let's beat the Knicks today. Go Chucky. That's right. We're about 5 minutes away from tip-off. And in Westchester, and I was going to do a watch along, but I got to get off the air, guys, because of personal reasons. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay's saying this. There's not a lot of teams that can say that. Most teams only have one or two playing up to their potential. We are a young team, and our margin for error is much greater than some of these other teams. Well, the margin for growth is there too. There's huge leaps. Like Scottie is not fully as strong and powerful as he's going to be. He's nowhere near his ceiling. There's still amazing, really intentional things he can do on the court as he really understands how powerful he is more and more. I said this from his rookie year. This guy is going to be growing into something that's so impactful in the NBA as the years go on. And we're just getting more and more of the surface scratched. And man, the potential with just him. And then you go into other things like RJ and Emmanuel are still very young and they can get better. Grady, Jacoby, all those young guys on the bench, they have huge areas that they can grow into and contribute in more consistent and top ways for the Raptors into the future. So this is important, man. I love that comment, and you're exactly right. Thank you for supporting this channel, Neil and Shaq and Fiercey and everybody. That's right. Thank you. Neil saying this. Most good players get theirs until they tire out. That's what happened to the Heat. We wore them late in the third. What a grinded out game. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe we have a bit more depth. That was a scary hit that Jovic took from that play. And I thought he had hurt his back. When he fell on the floor, it looked like he had a spinal injury because they went and got that board and the stretcher. But no, that goofy guy got up and he was smiling real big and he had some weird thing on his arm. That play was not dirty. Colin Murray Boyles made a serious attempt to go after the ball, and it's just Jovic wasn't able to protect himself, and he hit the floor hard. But you got to feel bad for a kid like that, the kid from Serbia, who's probably very close with Darko. They probably know each other very well. That he's had injury issues, and he just came back, and the first play back, he gets hurt once again. It's like, what is that, man? That's crazy, man. It sucks. Shaq Lindsay saying they're on the verge of blowing it up. Blowing it up. What, Miami? I don't know. Fiercely saying this, dunk to Trevor J for cheering us in a hostile environment yesterday. I don't know how hostile it was yesterday. You know, those fans in Miami, it was, first of all, it was a specialty night last night. And yeah, I won't say anything more about that, but you know, they you know, those fans were kind of docile. I'm not gonna lie. You know, even like the Miami Heat announcers, they're not like jerks like they used to be. You know, Eric Reed and John Crotty do a good job of calling the game. They really, really do. And they were very fair in the game last night. And of course, our old Amy Audibert, our old announcer for us, has been down there doing the pregame show for a long time. She looks great, by the way. She looks like she's in fantastic shape. And of course, she's going to have a soft spot for us, covering the Raptors for many years before going to the Miami Heat. And she's very fair in covering us before the game too, Amy Audibert. So yeah, I love to see her and in the Miami Heat pregame. And her insight on Brandon and talking about Scottie and stuff, fantastic stuff. Amy Audibert, former Raptors reporter, now with the Miami Heat. 174 for Trevor J for being a Raptor freak on the road. That's right. That's right. Love to see the threes drop. Yeah. I'm glad they start making them, especially Brandon. He can set the tone for us. When Brandon's making his threes, like RJ, when he's in, he's making his threes. He helps other guys make their threes. It's really good. Neil's saying RJ will have to ease himself back in, so give him some grace, fans. We'll just have to see how it goes. We don't know yet, though. We don't know. Fiercey saying, remove my comment in reference to the Tempo jersey. We'll write it tomorrow. Thank you, Fiercey. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I'm going to give you a dunk for that. I'm going to give you a dunk for that. Where's Fiercey? Yeah, I'm not going to get done right at 11. But you know what? We'll cross over into it a little bit. I'm sure not all of you guys are going to watch the 905 game, but we will get in there and watch it. I'll be in the chat very soon. Stargate saying Jamal already knows O Canada by heart. Yeah, that man just messed up the end. He made it all crackly and Peter Brady like, it's like, oh, bad. It was really, really bad. In some ways, it's disrespectful, like Roseanne Barr. Yeah, very much. Yeah. That Daddy Gates, Stargate is saying, and Jamal is a staunch Texas kid. You don't get more American than Texas. So big ups to him. Yeah, I guess that's true. You know, there are a lot of progressives in Texas too. Beto and Austin, the city of Austin is a very progressive town. It really is. And you know, the tide's about to turn in that state because people are fed up. They've been dealing with so much bullshit from the politicians there. There's a real movement that a lot of places are going to turn blue that were red historically all over the place. There's going to be a huge backlash towards the president and what he's trying to do. And politically, a lot of elections are going to swing very blue very soon. And you could be shocked to see Texas turn more blue than ever in the very near future. Watch. That's right. Ken A's here. Good to see Ken A. Nice win. Tough game down the stretch. Yeah, they closed it out right. They showed polish and perfection and end of the game against a playoff team, the team that has playoff veterans like playoff Powell and Bam Adebayo. That's pretty good right there. That's pretty good. Stargate saying the Heat fans are one of the very, very few fan bases that show respect to the Raptors. Depends on who you're talking about. Because normally I've dealt with Heat fans in Florida when I lived there, and they're assholes. Let's just not get it twisted. University of Miami fans and fans from Miami are little pretentious, and they're actually very snobby, and they're absolutely assholes. This is not true, Stargate. Take it from somebody who lived in Florida. The broadcast is nice. The fans that were in the arena last night seemed like they were a little docile, but no, this is not true. The Miami Heat fans are Dolphin fans, and they're also University of Miami fans, and they're some of the cockiest people you'll ever meet in your life. Trust me, as a guy who went to Florida State, dealing with Miami fans, this is not the proper description for them. This is not. If they respect us, it's partly because they like some of our players. They want them. And, there's been a lot of crossovers between like Kyle Lowry, Precious Achua, Norman Powell, Davion Mitchell, stuff like that. Yeah, most saying. So, Lex, I sent the video link to Elijah, W Stream, W Vibes. Oh, from the Saturday Share the Love Club? Cool. Well, I hope he watched it. I don't know. I mean, I hope that, listen, Elijah, this is what I say, man. You keep going on your path. Your path's going to be amazing. And I just wish you success. And, whatever is going to happen is going to be amazing. I know it will be. And a G League Player of the Week is a good start there. Yeah. So you sent the link to Elijah? Oh, maybe you watched the Share the Love Club this weekend. Thank you, Mo, for putting me on blast. I appreciate it. There's my cutoff. Thank you, Mo, for the cutoff. I won't read it all out right now because we are at 11:01 and I want to get done. Let's see. Neil saying we have a bit of a run to build. Yep. Coming up. There you go. Fiercey's using the Scottie monster look. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew from the Coach Cool Cat. And there's the cookies. She's got the maple leaf cookies out there. I love it. She's doing the emoticon parades. Fiercey, you're getting another dunk for being the emoticon giant right now. You are the emoticon giant. 145. 145 for Fiercey with the maple cookies. Kaz is saying good morning. Cool Cat saying, I listened to Fred VanVleet on Hell and Welcome. He shared some behind the scenes of the Raptors breaking up the chip team, Raptors selling issues from the top, impacting culture, etc. Yeah. Yep. We covered that a little bit earlier in the stream already. Mr. Quasimodo's here. It was more unbiased than the Magic or Charlotte game. Yeah, definitely. The Miami, there are different broadcast crews. They're absolutely good journalists and do their job well. And then there's some that are absolutely horrible. I say Philly's really bad. Boston is really bad. Yeah, there's a couple of crews that are absolute homers and they're real jerks, honestly. So, yeah, the referees for the game that just started, Gerda Gatling, RJ Johnson, Billy McClatchy. We won't do Raptors Reddit. There's no reason to do it. I did that already. Happy birthday to Joey Dorsey. Former Raptor Joey Dorsey played for the Raptors for 1 year. In the year of 2010, 2011, he played 43 games for Raptors, started 9 games. He averaged 3.1 points per game. So, yeah, Joey Dorsey is his birthday today. And as of today, he is 42 years old. So happy 42nd birthday, former Raptor Joey Dorsey. Yeah, that's the depth we get to on this channel. All right, we're going to do that classic card and get out of here. I should pick an easy one so that we get it done fast and get to the 905 game because I want to watch this game. I want to watch perfection personified in our Raptors 905. And let's see who I got here. Oh, wait, that's not the one I want. I want this one. No, I don't want that one either. Hang on. I want an easy one. Come on, Lex. Get an easy card. Where's an easy card? All right, that's easy. We'll do this one. All right, here we go, guys. First person to write the full name, answer the classic card, gets the classic card points. So here you go. That's easy. Write that in fast, man. Yeah, happy birthday to Joey Dorsey. You guys remember Joey Dorsey? That's a good deep cut right there. Reggie Miller, Kaz is on it fast. Yeah, that's an easy card. That's only a 50-point card. Right there. Reggie Miller is the classic card of the day, and it will be going to Trucker Kaz. 2 days in a row, Trucker's gotten the card of the day. So good job. 50 points for Kaz on the classic card of the day. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Tomorrow, we're going to do a Wow Wednesday. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on the Toronto Tempo's brand new jersey, and we'll have a talk about that and everything like that. W Stream, W Community. Thank you, Kaz. I hope you guys have a great day. Let's go watch the 905 now on YouTube. I'll be in the chat there, so you can continue to talk to me while the game's going on right now. But salute to you guys. Let's go, Raptors. Good job getting the job done, breaking the losing streak against the Miami Heat and Eric Spoelstra. And, well, let's go get Milwaukee on Thursday next. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody. Thank you, Isaac. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. If not, in the YouTube chat for the Westchester Knicks game. Let's go, Raptors. Let's go, Raptors. 905. Let's go, Trumpo. Let's go.